Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Corellian HT 2200 medium freighter. This is a suggestion from Kenneth6989. He wanted to see the 2200, so here we are. This actually is in the book stock ships from West End Games way back when. Um, I figured if we're going to hit this, and I know it's in the book, and as we kind of scroll down here, you'll get to see we have a wonderful blueprint of the ship itself, including the four cargo holds and the nice layout of the cabins and all that. So, if we're going to do this, let's take it from the book that really just centers on the ship itself for a couple pages. So, coming off a huge success of the YT 1300 line, the Krelling Engineering Corporation thought that the newly designed HT 2200 would be a big hit. Unfortunately, unfavorable reviews and poor word of mouth dried up the markets for this medium freighter. The HT 2200 has a low lift mass ratio, lacks adequate maneuvering thrusters, and is unable to deliver significant light speed. While this is somewhat mitigated by its higher ratings in hull durability, shielding, two pulse laser cannons, and four environment adaptable cargo bays, the HT 2200 has acquired a reputation as a pirate bait, and it's generally considered a failure. However, the basic design is sound, and with time, money, and ample modifications, the HT 2200 is clearly a solid and dependable freighter. One of the major drawbacks of the HT 2200 is its marketing. The 2200 was released after a wildly successful YT 1300 and did not receive the advertising the manufacturer's support is probably deserved. While the YT 1300 is arguably the most versatile and popular freighter in recent memory, it is not suited to the task of carrying some types of cargo. The YT 1300 is limited to 100 metric tons of cargo, and that cargo must be able to survive the environment conditions of the rest of the ship. The HT 2200 was designed to uh, rectify this problem. The 2200 possesses four massive cargo bays, each with a sealed programmable environmental system. Each bay can be programmed for a specific gravity and temperature setting, allowing the freighter to carry perishable foodstuffs, biomaterial in cryogenic stasis, and zero G crystal communication matrices in a single run. This capability, along with the HT 2200's high cargo capacity, allows higher profit margins per run. It is this factor that has encouraged many smugglers and shippers to acquire the HT 2200s. So, what we had gotten was a nice diagram here. So, as you can see, we do have four big cargo containers or cargo compartments. Uh, they can actually be turned into just two. So, um, for those of us that are running this as a role playing game, if you wanted to turn them possibly into hangars or one side into a hangar and the other side just leaving it off as a standalone two compartment cargo bay, that is a very big possibility. Now, as we look at the size, we're looking at what, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight ish. So about 40 feet there. So I think you should be very easily able to getting, I don't know, say a wing, a couple a wings maybe, into this area, and being able to give yourself some support craft. This would also work very well for um, anti-piracy starships, where you can outfit it with extra guns, maybe still giving it one or two fighters to help support the ship itself. And along that line, you could help run inside of a convoy. You could still carry cargo, and you could be their protection. So it gives you that wide versatility, as well as having we have what eight uh, 8 rooms for occupants. We do have what looks like some sort of medical bay, as well as a refresher, and in the back here, some sort of common area. Let's see what we all have listed here as we look at the front page here. So we do have the cockpit, the pit pilot, the co-pilot, technical stations, and our shield/weapon station. We have life support systems, uh, main computer, the upper deck airlock, which is four. Let's see. In the back here, this is a 19. So let's see what we have for that. Um, that's going to be our refresher. So I was kind of right with that one. Going up to our 20, and that is our galley. So upper airlock, upper lower gun wells. So we have kind of like the YT 1300. You could have a cannon below as well as a cannon above. We do have our four environmental controlled cargo bays. We have medical bay. So I was right. We do have one that's a 14. So let's see if we can spot that on our list. So that is right over here. That's where I thought our refresher was. That's our medical bay. This is our cooking area, as well as that being our just kind of hangout area. Um, oh, 19. That's our that's our refresher. I'm sorry. Okay, we have a common room, our crew quarters, cargo entry ramp, engineering section. 18 is okay. So this is a door getting into all of our engineering for everything else we got to do. I'm sure there's a nice crappy little crawl space to go underneath our refresher and all that, which it does make sense. You have to be able to get to all that stuff in case something breaks. But typically, for a lot of people, it's not going to be a lot of fun. Actually, it looks like we have three entrances. So behind the crew compartments, as well as the very back, so you can get to our engines. Um, 21 and 22 are sublight engines and repulsor lift engines. We also have the two escape pods. We have a pilot's cabin, which is 24, and co-pilot's cabin, which is 25. So let's kind of, okay, so 24 and 25 here. Um, Trying to get those so that way you actually have a dedicated captain and first mate's cabin. So that really gives us a nice layout of the ship. Let's see what our stats are. So this is a medium freighter at Starfighter scale. It is 54.8 meters long. We're using space transports for your skill. Let's see, has a crew of two, 8 passengers. Cargo capacity is up to 800 metric tons in the four different bays. So you're looking at 200 tons per bay. We have about 3 months worth of consumables. Brand new, this thing would have run you about 240,000 credits, and used, we're looking at about 110,000 credits. Has a hyperdrive multiplier of times two, a backup of times 12. We're going to have a nav computer, of course. Um, the nice thing is at least we don't have to use our droid, which you don't see too many on the medium freighters, but I think there are a couple out there that you do end up having that. This is fairly slow though, so keep that in mind. We have a space speed of 3. Um, when you look at a Y Wing with a space speed, I think a 7 or an 8, um, most pirate vessels are very easily going to be able to catch up and outfly you. So it's going to be really hard to maneuver this and you know keep it out of their line of sights. So in that regard, yes, that is a big deficit on the ship. Not saying you couldn't upgrade it. We do have rules in books like stock ships to be able to upgrade that, and it does come at quite a cost. Atmospheric speed, we do have a speed of 750 kilometers an hour. Has a wonderful hull of 5D, but the shields are a little lacking here at a 1D. So that's kind of an offset here, not really the best. Um, our sensor packet here, we have a passive scan out to a kilometer at a 0D. We have an active scan out to 2.5 kilometers at a 1D, a active search out to 4 kilometers at a 2D, and a focus out to 200 meters at a 3D. Remember, this is a transport vessel. This isn't a big uh, science vessel or military vessel or anything else. So it really doesn't need a lot in the sensor area. We have two pulse laser cannons. These are not fire linked. These look to be separate. So you're going to have the one on top and one on bottom, and these are only single lasers. So not like the Falcon where we're used to seeing a quad cannon setup. This is only a single laser cannon. We do have a fire control of 2D and a damage of 4D. And again, you're going to need people in those seats unless you do a locked. Quite often, it'll be locked forward, or if you want, you can do one locked forward and one locked behind you. That way, it gives you the opportunity to maybe shoot at one behind you as well as one in front of you. And I would say that the pilot would be shooting one, and your co-pilot may be shooting the second. Keep that in mind if you're running this as a crew. Otherwise, as I had said before, you do have um, a seat here in the cockpit, and I forget which one it is. Uh, Shield/weapon station, which is D. So that means that we're looking at this one back here, as far as being the person that's going to be controlling your shields and possibly one of the turrets remotely. Although, if you're doing that, you could give them that bonus, but you might want to kind of trim that bonus back a little bit when we're doing kind of those things. Depends on what kind of a crew you have. Uh, it adds a little extra difficulty or whatever, but it's just that question: do you want to give them the full bonus or not? It's always up to your game master as to what you really want to do there. And I'm not going to say one way or the other should or should not be done. Usually I err on the side of the players, so I'll usually give it to them. But if you want to make it a little bit more trying on them, give them easier pirates to go up against. But on the other hand, give them that little extra knock down there or whatever, something that you can easily take out, but might make it a little bit more challenging. Um, and if we're talking about a ship like this, and I've done this before in the past, I think I've said it, but I'm not 100% certain. We're talking about a ship that's got cargo here. Um, Sometimes when you're running a bigger group of guys or whatever, and I had a bigger group for a hot minute there. So we actually had one or two people that were actively trying to take care of the cargo. So during combat, they did not have much to do. So when you're starting to hit barrel rolls or whatever else with your ship, I did have them do checks on their cargo to make sure that they were keeping everything locked down. And that gave them something to do. They didn't feel completely useless. They were now in charge of making sure that cargo stayed where we were trying to put it. Uh, and it made it interesting and it made it fun for them. So there's an extra bit, especially when we're looking at freighters uh, of one sort or another. Something to throw out there to keep everyone occupied. And that is always the big key. If you can keep everyone occupied with whatever they're doing, uh, you're asking your engineer, hey, can you give us more power to whatever, and give them a little roll, and then you can give like a plus one bonus to something. So just ideas, thoughts, things that have kind of worked in the past. Not knowing exactly how everyone is running a ship like this, uh, it helps to incorporate everyone into what's going on. And when we're doing that, usually everybody has a lot more fun in that environment. So, again, a shout out to Kenneth6989 for asking me to do this. Uh, I'm happy to come up with one of the ships that we have. And it is in the Legends series here, and it is an old ship from West End Games in that as well. With that, thanks for stopping by. It's always wonderful having you here. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next